Not the Milwaukee. That means I love you. Welcome to the check-in on WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. I'm your host, Kweku Dr.Alisia with.
I'm Dr. Alisia Moutry, and good morning, Milwaukee.
Hey, and at the check-in, what do we do?
You know, at the check-in, we have a wonderful opportunity to lift every voice, and then between breaths, we create safe spaces, and we create them for folks mentally, spiritually, and physically.
All right, come on with your man right out.
Hey, Jack.
Clark Kent. That's what we do. Hey, listen, you know, we can't start the show before we do our two P's. They say, what's the two P's? Well, the first P is permission. As in the tradition of our ancestors, we must get permission from an elder to speak. We've been granted that permission. The second P is a prayer. Alicia, did our mother offer that prayer?
That mother, our dear mother, offered a prayer. She prayed for the radio station. She prayed for our guests specifically, that you may be able to share in a way that may be able to touch the audience, the listening audience. So your prayers are behind you. All right, bro?
Come on, that's what we do. And, you know, we're going to start off with these salutations and salutes. My salutations go to Courtney Kelly. It's her born day. Dr. Leah Gilliam. It's her born day. LaCharles Tyler. One of my little mentees, he over in Italy now representing USA, so I got to give him mad love. But the main person who I want to give shout out today, Baba Derek Rogers. That is my man. I'm gonna tell you, you talk about like the miseducation of the Negro. That was me going through graduate school, and I had to do a practicum over at Malcolm X Academy. And I went into this basement with this teacher, this black strong man, these long dreads, and all of the children, who were suspended or getting detentions, they would take him down to his room. The only thing is when he went down there, and he had the best education system throughout the whole school. And then when they was doing better, they could go back to the regular class. So people would get on detentions and suspensions just to do it. But he had like this restoration of consciousness with his curriculum and instruction style. It was so Afrocentric. It changed my whole trajectory of how I saw education and what I did. So I just want to give Baba Derek Rogers his flowers, tell him I love him, I appreciate him, and respect for all that he do for the community, even still to this day.
And speaking of community, I have an event for the community that's free. You know, we love free items, don't we?
Come on.
So I want to talk about
free
free 99, absolutely.
Can't beat
the Intergenerational Community Women's Day, presented by the Milwaukee Alumni Chapter, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. You know, I say that with a little extra something, you know how that goes. But the event, again, it's a Community Women's Day, prevention and practice, act early and live well. This event's going to happen on Saturday, February 28th. It's going to happen at Epicos Church on Sherman Park, 3737 North Sherman Boulevard. The doors will open at 8:30. The program goes from 9 to 4. And we talk about free. We're talking about free continental breakfast. We're talking about free lunch. So make sure you're in the place. This event is for ages 9 and older. And there's going to be a couple things I'll tell you that's going to happen. You got to go to see. But what's going to happen, you're going to have cooking demonstrations, workshops on wellness, health screenings, and community resources. And during some of the breaks, we'll have the flyer up for folks to if in case you want to register. That'd be great.
Hey, thank you to the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. They've come on the show the last 2 years to talk about this event. So that event is no stranger to the community, intergenerational. That's what it's going to take to pull us up. Now we do the salutations. Usually we just do one, but I had to do something special.
Okay, what you got?
Well, Brother Jesse L. Jackson died.
Yes.
And so I must show love. I must show respect. But what I want to do is something a little different I've never done before. I created, Jermaine, a top 10 list on things people might know, might not know about Jesse Jackson, but why he became such a hero to me.
Okay, I like it. You're starting with number one. You're going 10 down.
No, I'm going from his birth, because I'm glad you said that, because the New York Times did an article and they was like, Jesse Jackson was the bridge between Martin Luther King and Obama. And I was listening to Tavis Smiley last night, and Cornell West was on. They was like, I dare you. He said, see, that come from that white community, that milquetoast culture, where that's how they want to eliminate us and how they want to divide us in their language. He said, do you know who this brother was? But when he did that, you know, you do your own research and you start dipping down. There's some things you know, and then there's some things you don't know. So the first thing I know is, do you know that he was born Jesse Louis Burns? And this is what I didn't know. So his mom was a teenager, but his daddy was 32. But his daddy was a married man. It was the next door neighbor. Oh, wow. Remember that he always talked about his mom almost getting an abortion. And so even though that 30-year-old and that teenager might not have been meant to be together, they DNA was meant to be together to create this person. So his mother married a year later, and that man adopted him, and that's where he got the name Jackson. So that's where it's from. And so I was like, oh, that's deep. And then so when I found out that his father adopted him, I was like, well, now he got every excuse to be that nigga to be like, man, life is messed up for me. I ain't got that. But he was a scholar. He was an athlete. He was elected class president and got a scholarship to the University of Illinois to play football. But at that time, you know, Jesse's a big man, about 6'3", 6'4", probably about 220 at that time. They wouldn't let him play football. So what he had to do, like we always do, he left the white man because he saw the grass went greener, went down to North Carolina A&T. And that's where it changed his life. That's where he met the love of his life, Miss Jacqueline. They had 5 children. And I love all of his children, but his oldest daughter I like a little more because I be on a radio show sometimes. So I got a different relationship with her. But when I was looking at it, I was like, man, this man went on, got his sociology degree. He was in the midst of his theological studies, but then Dr. King came. So he dropped out and he started going on a thing. And this, James, you appreciate this. Martin Luther King was an Alpha member, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We Omega Psi Phi fraternity incorporated. They said Martin Luther King loved him, but they was like, the little nigga a little too ambitious though. He wanted to do his own thing. And he was like, he just pushed a little bit much. And the thing is, rumor on the street is when the streets talk, they said 5 days before King died, King and Jackson was in the meet. And Jesse kept interrupting where he got up and left. He said, this nigga just want to talk. He want to do things his way. But when we think of King though, you know, after that though, we think about the leadership he did and, you know, creating Rainbow Push. You know, push. I don't know. Do anybody know what that means? Because I didn't even know what that meant. Wait. Oh, you Chicago, so I know you know. So when we start talking,
people united against the people united to serve humanity.
And some say save, but I love to serve because it was both of them on there. But I was like, that's that whole Rainbow Coalition. It was off the Fred Hampton thing. It was like, how do we get everybody together? And when I look at him, this is really where he became my hero, because when I saw him run in 1984 and 1988. That's when somebody say I am somebody, and it says if my mind can conceive it and my heart will believe it, then I can achieve it. That was like the manifestation. Like I could do whatever I want to do. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is my man. But in 1999, what makes him real to me, he had a daughter named Ashley, and it went from his wife. And when all of his children are asked about that, you know how they try to bring up some of your down moment. He said, baby, I fell down. He said, but champions don't stay down. And he got back up and he continued to do. And as some people know, when the unfortunate situation with Jacob Blake happened, I was along with Dr. Darrell Williams, James Wright, Jelani Mbalia. We were able to go down to Kenosha and do some work with Jesse Jackson, who came across those state lines. And the reason why I bring that up is because at this time, he was old, he wasn't the same, but he was still fighting the same. Indomitable spirit. He knew he couldn't do a lot, but he knew his name still brought the lights, the cameras, the actions, and other people could do something. Until he died on yesterday, he was up doing stuff. He was at the 2024 election for the Democratic nomination, and everybody saw him being rolled and pushed. But what he said is, my presence has got to be here. So when I look at those things, it wasn't his Medal of Freedom, him releasing the hostages, anything like that, but it's the sum totality of his life. So brother Jesse Jackson, man, we salute you.
Yes.
Job well done. Yes. Job well done.
Yes.
But the person who I was going to suit for Lurse is a man by the name of August Wilson. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I knew of his plays, but I didn't know really August Wilson. And I feel bad about that because I was like, I should know more about this man. And when I started to look at his life, it was so powerful, because here's this man that wrote all of these great Black plays. And I found out he was from mixed descent. So his dad was white, his mother was Black. But what happened was he was going to this Catholic school. And every day his sister was like, they'd be like, nigga, go home. Nigga, what you doing here? So he had to deal with this to the point where he said, I ain't going to school no more. Quit. He would just go to the library and he read and he read. He hang out on the corners, listen to the stories of his people. And that's where all of these ideals came from. And when I look at what he's done, wrote Fences, the piano lessons, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, 2 Trains Running, King Headley II, Joe Turner's Come and Gone, Jitney, 7 Good Tires, How I Learned What I Learned, Gem of the Dream, and Radio Golf. And Radio Golf was written in 2000.
Gem of the Ocean.
Gem of the Ocean. Thank you. That was no, it's Radio Golf too, but Gem of the Ocean is 2003. Oh, I missed it. Thank you.
You said Gem of the Dream.
Oh, Gem of the Dream, and then Radio Golf. But with Radio Golf in 2005, that's the year he died. So just like Jesse, I was like, man, these men were working to the times of their death.
Sure.
And when I listen to this, somebody was talking about, and they said the reason why August Wilson is so good is because he was fearless in his writing. And then one of the things they said, correct me if I'm wrong with this, because you might know it better. He said, man, not scare a white man more than when they hear the word gun and when they hear the word nigga. And they hear gun and nigga, it's the worst for them to hear. Unless they hear that nigga got shot by a cop with a gun. And when I heard that, I was just like, it's not funny, but it's like, that is not
from a play.
Yeah, I was like, if that is not the literal point of our story, I was like, this is what it is. Don't tell me to move on.
I'm just like, we do have a guest here. I would love to hear from him at some point.
And this is why I'm setting it up, because the person who we have here has done not one, not two, not three, but I think at least 4.
This is my 6th.
Oh, come on now. Yeah. So when I talk about Mr. James T. Alfred out of Chicago, but you say, well, what's his Milwaukee root? You got his internet business and international business from Cardinal Stretch. He's a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, made right here at Kappa Phi. But then also, man, I was looking at his thing. You went to the pit, is it Piney Woods?
Piney Woods School.
Piney Woods School in Mississippi. But then listen to this. Then he went to the advanced theater training in Harvard. Then he got his Master's of Fine Arts from the Moscow Art Theater School in Russia. I was like, this man had been literally from Mississippi to Russia to Harvard. So when we start thinking about that, been in movies like Red Shirts, plays Fences, 2 Trains Running, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Clybourne Park, Jitney, To Kill a Mockingbird, A Raisin in the Sun. And Jermaine, this is some stuff that the people, if they look at him, they're going to say, hey, this Tyree from Empire. I said, this Tyree, Serial E. Tyree. Brown's Tale, a story that he wrote, did a one-man play. Detroit 67, he was on the blacklist. Prison Break, Chicago PD. Jermaine, let's get them round of applause. He was also in Power Book 2 with Go. Our man James T. Alfred.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, I wanted to set it up. I wanted to let
that was a great intro. That was a great. It was long.
It was long. It was a long for me too. I was starting to
gotta be long and strong. That's what I saw.
But,
hey, no, the thing is, because I love to give people flowers. And like when we talk about a Jesse, we talk about an August. Sometimes they're not here to hear some of the accolades. So when you hear, I love for people to hear, because they say he from Chicago. He went to school in Milwaukee. He went to school from Mississippi to Russia. They started to say that whole Jesse Jackson, I am somebody, I could do whatever I want. So my first question is to you, when I see a person in the arts, did you know that was in you from the very beginning?
It's interesting that we're here on this occasion when right at a day later after Reverend Jesse Jackson passed. I met him I was doing a conference, the National Catholic Schools, conference at Notre Dame, and Jesse Jackson and Muhammad Ali had come in.
That's the 1-2 punch for real.
Yeah, and Ali, had started his decline, but that was the first time I met Jesse Jackson, and talking to him in a very brief moment, my aspiration at that point wasn't political, wasn't art. It was always business. Yeah. And so I said, I'm going to be a CEO of the Fortune 500 company.
Oh, international business.
International business. And because he was talking about the globalization of the world, how we need more entrepreneurs and Black men in places to open doors for other people, for other Black men. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
So I'm curious, like, what sparked the birth of the arts within you?
So once I got to corporate America, after about 3 months, I said, no, this ain't going to work. I can't see coming somewhere for 40 years doing this task.
So this 9 to 5 ain't for me.
It just
that's the other artist you made over there. No, brother.
And then it's so cliche. I was talking to a temp worker at the water cooler. Literally was taking a coffee break. We were talking about what would we do if we were not doing this. And I said, I thought, I wanted to be a professional basketball player. Of course, that didn't work. Tore my knee up, and that probably wasn't going anywhere. I was better in my mind than I really was. Okay. But like every kid.
My knee, if it wasn't for the knee.
If it wasn't for the knee, that's my story.
You were all in.
But coming from Chicago, I came through the Michael Jordan era, so everybody wanted to be Jordan.
That was a championship.
You talk about somebody saying, I can be. Yeah. I think. I'm gonna finally be like Mike. So that didn't happen, and then, like I said, started doing had aspirations of corporate America. But then I went and did we were talking about what were we doing. She said, well, I said, I might do some acting. I don't know. I try
just out the blue.
Just out the blue. I said, try that.
At the water cooler.
But I'm like, how do you do
Do
that?
it, yeah.
What is the actual path of becoming a professional actor? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Was not exposed to the arts like kids that come through.
Uh-huh.
They do the church programs.
Yeah.
They do
Yes.
the high
The school
school. They do
plays.
school plays. They got the little community group.
Yeah.
The most our little community group did was a talent show. It was very robust.
Yeah.
But you know how people had their favorites. You have
Yeah.
to get chosen
There you
and
go.
picked
Yeah.
to be in the talent
Yes,
group.
yes.
At that time, it was breakdancing,
Yeah.
rapping. Nobody was doing. I did in the summer. This one lady, she had an actor come with us, and he would help us memorize Shakespeare monologues, and we would do that.
Yeah.
But that was
That was
about
it.
the extent of it.
Got it.
And then she said, I have a friend who's directing a
Oh.
production of Romeo and Juliet at a theater that was literally
Serendipitous.
down the street from my house. Keep that word.
Yeah.
It's gonna blow your mind. The play was down the street from my house. I went, auditioned, I got cast. After I did I kept getting cast, like 3 or 4 plays. I did Romeo and Juliet, The Elephant Man, played John Merrick. I did To Kill a Mockingbird and Little
Big
Shop
names.
of Horrors. Then I went in 1998. I went to the Goodman Theater because I read an article about August Wilson and went and said, "Oh man, I've been reading about this guy. I heard his play is up here. Let me go see it." I sat there. The play was 2.5 hours long, and when it was over, I'm looking around and I'm sitting here like, "Did y'all just see that shit? did you guys have no idea?" Because number white folks in the audience. August writes about Black people,
Yeah.
the experience of Black people, set in the Pittsburgh Hill District, with the only exception of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is set in Chicago. August write about this experience, but he writes this in the quote unquote legitimate theater, which is in the place. It's not near the people, by the people. It's for the people. But it's in traditionally white institutions like the Milwaukee Rep, the Goodman Theater.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there looking like, did y'all just didn't see
He
this
just told
thing?
y'all the
I was
truth.
blown. My mind was blown because he elevated the common man, the drunk,
Yeah.
the little mom and pop shop owner, elevated these people to extraordinary heights. And I was like, what is this?
I was gonna say this FCC regulated. This ain't
I'm
serious
sorry.
radio.
I'm sorry. And then I saw another of his plays, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Levy Green, a character in the play, having this conversation with God, and I'm like,
yeah.
this is me. And after that, I said, I want to do that.
Wow.
But it wasn't that I wasn't really saying I wanted to be an actor.
You
I wanted to be a part of that celebration of Black life that I just bore witness to. That had a profound, it shook me at my soul, at the core. So fast forward, I go to grad school.
Wait, hold on. Let me pause you because we got to pay some bills and commercials.
go
But
ahead.
hey, listen, he coming back with this story because we talking about going to grad school. So hey, listen, you listen to the check-in. Between these breaths, we're gonna be right back. To the check-in, WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I'm Dr. Kweku Dr.Alisia with.
I'm Dr. Alisia Moutry.
And we're joined in the studio by James T. Alfred. Now, you were just talking about, man, your progression from the business world into the arts and community, and you were talking about you were going to graduate school, so to speak. Talk on that. And
So-
Carla, we hear you. We coming right after this story.
So make a long story long. I didn't know anything about acting training, but once I saw the Wilson plays, I got serious. I said, okay, I'm gonna go and study this and train this and train. You know, I heard about the Yale School of Drama. You know, when I saw him, I say, okay, where's this genesis? And you had Lloyd Richards, who was at the Yale School of Drama, the artistic director of Yale Repertory Theater. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Yale. Well, I auditioned for Yale. I didn't get into Yale. Ended up going to Harvard. Harvard had a partnership with the Moscow Art Theater School. So part of the time was in Moscow and part of the time was in Cambridge.
And that's crazy.
And so we had to learn Russian and all that stuff. So now, fast forward. I'm going through the program. I'm 2.5 years. I'm already getting ready to come out. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to work. All my training is rooted in all the training and all the stories and the things that we're learning is rooted through a Eurocentric lens. And I'm like, there's nothing resonating with me like these plays I saw when I went to see Wilson. Shakespeare is beautiful. It's great. I love the language. I love wrapping my mouth around those words. I love the Greek dramas. I love it, but nothing has hit me like Wilson.
Like August Wilson.
And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get out here and
be able to work
like this. I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. But I kept jitney in my pocket for 2.5 years. That was my touchstone. One of my classmates recognized it, said, "You're gonna do that play." That was the first play I did out of grad school with the man that founded the theater, Penumbra Theater, which is in St. Paul, Minnesota, where August Wilson became a playwright. Claude Anderson Purdy brought August to St. Paul, Minnesota, to Penumbra Theater. They did more of his plays than anybody in the world. They did his first play, Black Bart in the Sacred Hills, which I heard was a disaster, but they saw something in him. Claude, they kept working with him, and now we have one of the greatest playwrights in American history, and he's in the pantheon of great playwrights.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
But this man that's directing this piano,
Lou Bellamy
is is the leading foremost interpreter of his work, who's alive today, who's been with August developing these plays before they got to Yale, before they got to the O'Neill, before he got to Lloyd Richards. It was Claude Anderson Purdy, Lou Bellamy, Marion McClinton, James J. Dub, Terry Bellamy. All these guys were there developing this work and helping August develop his voice. Most playwrights that that are
the directors don't know the playwrights.
They have an institution.
Well, you know what I love about it? You spoke it into existence at the water fountain.
Yes.
But what I love about it, you didn't just sit back and say, "Is it going to happen?" You put the work in.
It happen.
You made it happen. You put the work in. You made it happen, and you were able to transition from what you were just doing, just to be doing, versus this. As I asked you, your spark, your passion, what you're supposed to do. I know we got a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to the check-in. Well, we used to have a call.
Okay, yeah, I know we didn't catch you on too long, but call on.
You can
back.
call it back. If you want to call in, call at 414-444-5250.
So what I do want to talk about is because James, you up here for a reason, because now we do have another August Wilson plays The Piano Lesson. And so I'm looking at this, and it's going to be here from February 24th to March 22nd, 2026. Man, I can't believe I'm saying.
Can you say those dates one more time?
February 24th through March 22nd. So you're gonna be here for about a month doing this play. And so that's how popular it is. It's got this many days. Are you doing more than one show a day, or is it basically a couple shows a week?
The way regional theater run, that's what they usually refer to it as. You got Broadway, off Broadway, then everything outside of New York is considered regional theater. So usually go 8 shows a week, Tuesday through Sunday. But it's funny, the other day we were at rehearsal and I'm coming in and like I said, usually these plays are predominantly populated by white audience. I'm coming to the theater the other day, and there was some brother had a play here talking about what I do for love or something at the Paps Theater, and it was packed, and then the folks was dressed up for their Valentine's Day. But yeah, we're here for a month, and we start the first performance is the 24th, which is the preview performance, and the official opening is the 27th of February.
Yeah,
But we've been here about this is our 4th week here now. We've been here rehearsing, so I'm trying to get it together.
no, I'm looking at it. So if I say these 9 names wrong, help me out. Nubia Monks,
Your monks, yes,
Lester Perry,
yes,
then what is it? Lateria Alexander, Latavion,
Latevin.
Latevin.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have James Craver playing Doker.
Yep,
Anthony Arns playing Avery.
yep.
And then is the N.I.J.
Nyaja.
Nyasia.
Uh-huh.
She's playing Grace. And then is these twin girls that's playing?
No,
They
so
they
what they
sisters?
get? No, they're not related,
Oh,
but they alternate to playing the children in the
okay,
show.
because they had the same last name
Uh-huh.
and they kind of look the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
they
So
try to,
Stella
match
and
it up,
match it up.
Mhm.
No, that's beautiful. So I'd say those characters for the people who know, but for somebody who has not seen it, whether they haven't seen it on stage or they haven't even seen it on Netflix being played by the Washington family, so to
Mhm.
speak, give us a little bit about what the piano lesson means to you, but the broader audience to understand what this play, why it's so powerful.
The play means a lot to me. August writes these men, and it's kind of in harmony with Lorraine Hansberry as she did with
Mhm.
Walter Lee.
Mhm.
He writes these men that understand their worth, their
Mhm.
value.
I am
That
somebody.
there's not. I am somebody. That there's no. I wasn't like Boy Willard has a line. He said, "My mama didn't birth me for nothing."
Yeah.
And so they're on these paths of trying to self-actualize, and they're hit with these obstacles in which they have to overcome, and oftentimes it's right there
Yeah.
within the home.
And this is
So,
set in 1936
1936, yeah. And so
in Pittsburgh, like you
in-
said
in
before.
Pittsburgh during that part of the
Yeah.
migration, this family, the Charles family, migrates up to Pittsburgh from Mississippi, and the piano lesson starts where Boy Willie, my character, is coming to Pittsburgh to convince his sister to sell the piano, which is a family heirloom, so that he can get the money
Yeah.
and do what he calls build on what was left to me,
Yeah.
buy some land, and continue the family legacy. Well, of course, she feels has a sentimental value to it, doesn't feel like we're supposed to get rid of this. And there ensues the conflict and their fight. But beautifully played by Nubia Monks. August writes them, and he doesn't. There's not a lot of women characters in his canon,
Mhm.
but the women he writes are some
Oh yeah.
award-winning parts. Viola Davis.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
everybody
whatever.
remember her line. She didn't even have a lot, but she
Mm.
stole the show with the parts that she had. When I think about like this whole thing with the piano lesson, though, I try to think about like how does this like even relate to today? And when I think about like that piano, the reason why the piano was so beautiful is because they actually the enslaved people who we had, they were sold for that piano. It was a man and a boy.
Mhm.
And so the family had a sentimental attachment because this is what paid for this out of their family's blood. But then there was a person in the family who was able to carve the whole
He was a
family
woodsman,
tree
yeah.
Wood-
Mhm.
and a woodsman extraordinary. And so he was just asked to carve 2 pictures. The mother, the other 2 people who were sold,
Mhm.
but he carved the whole
The
family.
entire family story.
The story. I was
The
gonna say,
story.
yeah.
And what I love about that is because when we talk about the story, we talk about like we can't start it till we get permission from the elders, as in the tradition of our ancestors, because it's something about that. And what I love about what August Wilson does, he touches on the part that we don't talk about as much, how important our ancestors are, how important it is with that piano. You could tell the whole family story because it just wasn't 2 people. It was stories of weddings. It was stories of grandparents and great grandparents. And I think for us in this day, it
People
tells us
being
about
sold.
the power
Yeah.
of understanding our story, understanding what people went through to get something. Because if you don't know what that family went through to get that piano, you just look at it as a piano. But when you hear the backdrop, you like, oh, you get the chills. And so this is our invitation to you listening in the audience. Tell them old stories. Get the grandmamas, get the great grandmamas that's around. Tell them babies them stories that they might not understand why this Bible, why this skillet, why this pen is so powerful, but also understand the deeper meanings of those stories.
So I had a question for you. I've been waiting to ask you
Yeah.
this. So I'm thinking, I sing, and when I'm in the midst of a song, I typically kind of have this outer body experience, and I'm really
Mm.
into the song. And so what I'm curious for you is, as you're acting, do you feel like you are having an outer body experience when you are into these characters? Just curious about that.
Not necessarily an out of body experience, is because I like to say that I'm inhabiting this person.
Mm.
and I'm not
You are boy Willie.
watching. Yeah, once I cross the footlights, cross that threshold, James is gone. I'm somebody else, and I think that's the job that you're empowered, the task that you've been endued with, what you've been given to do, to execute, and that is to tell the story through this person's lens at this date and time. One of the one touch on real quick. One of the greatest Travis, when you talked about ancestors, they say my grandmother, when she passed, I used to tell everybody to go spend time with. I got a bunch of videos. They said when an elder dies, it's like a library
burns.
And one of the greatest things I think that August talks about here in all of his plays is unrealized potential. That's the greatest tragedy. That's where the most talent is at in the graveyard. You look out here, unrealized potential. A lot of people walking around because and losing their minds because they know that there's something that they want. That they got to do is something that you supposed to accomplish. Exactly, but they don't know how to start.
Come on,
they don't know the avenues and the vehicles through which. But you can find all that if you go talk to them people who was here before you.
Listen, I want to bring this back. I want to take it from here and bring it here. I was watching the movie Sinners. And there's the scene with Delroy Lindo, and he's going through traveling with his nephew and with the other young men in the vehicle. And they pass these young men on the chain gang. And he was like, I used to be in that. I know them people. And then he talked about the story, how him and this guy got away. And then they get to the point where he can't even talk no more, but he just started singing. And it's just
Where'd you see this play?
But that's where I want to go with that, because I said we're going to take it from there to here. When I hear Berta, and they talking about the Parchment Farm, which is I think similar to a prison, they talk about these stories, what you do, and it's like that. I want to know when she talk about inhabiting the sun, because Boy Willie starts that song off. Give me a little bit of that Berta and what that means to you.
Berta is a work song, and I've seen this play done where it's a. To hear the men singing, it could be nice and pretty and beautiful. Oh Lord, bird, you know, you do it, and it's a work song, and it could be something to enjoy. We ain't doing that. It's ugly.
It's the pains.
Like you said, he couldn't even finish. He said, I can't even finish it, and that's we're not trying to. That's the idea. And if you give yourself over to that process, that will happen, because that ain't nothing to be performing. I mean,
that's deep.
The idea that
you Boy Willie
keeping that rhythm. And if you didn't keep that rhythm, that you're gonna get your back toe open with the lash. You know, and so he starts off with like, come on, I remember this. Because it's like we do. You remember the police had it down there, you down there crying, and then all of a sudden
it get real.
It changed because it ain't funny no more. Because he did pee on himself. That somebody did kick him in the scrotum. He lost his kids. You know, whatever happened when it starts off by, we made it out, we survived it. But then when you peel that scab off that and you're reliving that experience, this ain't funny no more, man. This still hurt. That's trauma I ain't dealt with. I just pushed it down there to get on.
Wow. So that's how
I believe Boy Willie is sitting here right now. The way you just described that, I felt.
But see, I didn't see this man in action. I went to see him do Clybourne Park at the Rep, and I think that was almost like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but more than that, because I came back, I did fences.
That was a bird that just flew into the thing. That's why we look back.
Hey man, I'm from the South Side of Chicago.
You didn't even flinch.
No, that's why you should have been on the ground.
If it sound like a boom, boom, boom,
then you're good. You're good. Hey, did you want to do the part that were you looking to do a different part, or is that the part you really wanted?
No, so I've always my goal is once I start, I'm gonna do all 10. Like August didn't start out to do writing 10, but when he did all, he said I'm gonna do all 10. I'm gonna write one that chronicles the African American experience for each decade. So I want to get a chance to do all 10 of them. I've been fortunate enough.
Now we got to call Denzel to get you in part of that cycle, because he got that. So that what we say, we start with the mouth. So we're gonna say it and put it to the heavens for the ancestors.
And the films, the good thing about it is I used to be reluctant about it. I'm like, why y'all changing stuff? But it is getting people familiar with this work that have not been familiar with the work. Sometimes I'm not really in agreement with some of the interpretation of it,
Yeah.
but you know who the man's name is. You can go back if you're
Yeah.
curious. You can go back and read the plays and maybe go
Yeah.
and seek out a production of the plays. But again, the special thing about what you guys getting ready to experience in Milwaukee, you're getting ready to see a play, the piano lesson, directed by a person who've known this man probably the longest than anybody out here, who helped shape his voice, who understands the levers, who understands the ebbs and flows and the nuances of this work. I say, unlike anybody else, argued and fought with August. Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, what you watch yesterday? I am gonna do that. You know, that before he even got to New Haven and New York. You know, these people were in there in the trenches. That's the birthplace. That's the genesis. And I think that's really special. And it's a treat to have somebody of that caliber come here to Milwaukee.
No, I'm looking forward to it. And the reason why I love this play is because in my mind, there's no true antagonist. It's like everybody. I think Doker says it best because Boy Willie was like, you know, I'm right. He said, I ain't said nothing about right or wrong. Everybody kind of got their own feeling about this. And what I love about it, and we're going to talk about it, is because we talk about the trickery of inheritance. And we think about how that causes grief and other pain upon family, but then the complications of family where we love each other, but it's sometimes unresolved issue, especially like with Boy Willie and Bernice. Like when you got a sister who just don't listen to you. That's my sister. That's why she's looking at me.
Or a brother that thinks his way is the right way all the time.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But
you know, and I had to let the spirits come out. That's the only way he listened to.
You know what's interesting about that? All that is resolved. It won't even have to be the burden of listening, not listening. If you got a will,
come on, and see, that's what we're gonna talk about. Hey, listen, we're gonna take a break because we're gonna come back and we're gonna get back into some more of the piano lesson, how it relates to us, and how you can see Brother James T. Alfred and the rest of the cast of the piano lesson at the Rep. You are listening to the check-in, and between these breaths, I want you to think about what we talked about. We'll be right back. The check-in on WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. We're sitting here with James T. Alfred. He is starring in The Piano Lesson. He is Boy Willie. And we're talking about all of these things. We talk about the trickery of inheritance. And sometimes people say, why are you going to hold on to something? It's just symbolic. And she said, no, this is more than that. And when they tell the story of this piano, come to find out, remember we told you, Dr. Moutry, that they sold the piano for those two people? Well, it come to the family when enslavement is over. They like, as long as this family own this piano, they own us. So three brothers get together one night during a celebration. They say, we taking our stuff back. Yeah. Two of the brothers take it, go, one stays. Well, guess what happened to the one who stays? He's no longer with us. Right. So now this piano got even more or less. Anybody ever watch Pulp Fiction know the purpose and the story of the watch? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you hear a story, you be like, oh, no, we ain't letting nothing happen to this. So this is where the dilemma comes, because the sister like, hey, this piano belongs in our house. It ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. But Boy Willie like, listen, our daddy gave us this. And now if I could sell this, because I done raised up 2/3 of the money, if I can get the other third, I can buy some land. Guess where they going to buy the land, Alicia? The same land that where the people own their family. He like, how symbolic, how powerful.
Sutter.
Now, Doker a little nervous because he was like, well, first of all, the girl ain't selling it. But even if you buy this land, because 1936, he said, they just going to take it. They're going to let you buy it, but then they're going to take it. He said, that's the story. So the brilliance of August Wilson being able to see the intricacies. But now you talked about when you sing, you get inhabited. What made this movie the movie for me was when the piano was there, the sister would see the ghost of this man named Sutter. Mm-hmm. And when Sutter would come, he was the enslavement on. Yeah. People said, that, was he coming back for the piano? Some people said, Boy Willie killed him. It was the ghost of the yellow dog, all these different theories. But there's a ghost in the house. And you know, if somebody say you see a ghost, what's the first thing you think?
I'm out of there.
No, the person say, you crazy. You ain't seen nothing. like they think you crazy. Right. Like you might have saw something they call those visual hallucinations.
And Boy Willie knew that. He said, if you had seen him, you still be running.
Mm. and to that point.
Yeah.
And so without spoiling it for everybody, what happens, it comes to a crescendo when there's some stuff going, some like paranormal activity in the house where people say this is undeniable. The preacher come in to do his exorcism, so to speak. And the preacher say, oh, this is beyond me. And this goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. Boy Willie encounters the ghost. And we can see him visually because of the way that it's done. But if you originally, you know, like D-Boy was talking about, radio is the theater of the mind. If you're reading this, you get to see this invisible ghost choking Boy Willie. The sister comes to the piano. She calls on the name of the people on the piano. Yeah. Boy Willie, Bernice, because they was named after their grandparents. Mm-hmm. It goes through all of the names. And then in the movie, you see these ancestors come up and take the ghost. And now he's done. Boy Willie is saved. And I ain't gonna tell the rest because I don't want to spoil it.
You done told a lot already.
Oh, but at least they can watch it on the piano lesson on that. I want them to see
the movie's different.
It is. And that's what I love about it.
Because it's that where you talk about they can tape things. Because I watched the movie with the Washington family, and then I watched it with Rock Dutton and Alfred Woodard. They did a great job too. With Charles S. Dutton, I think his name is. But long story short, it talks again about the story of the ancestors, but then that was the resolution also. Because they had all experienced this thing together. And so the resolution that they find is within them. But the beauty of it is that's all, but life still goes on. And that's the one thing that I love about August Wilson. You talk about Shakespearean, it doesn't always end with like a definite closure. Andy, what's your feeling on how August Wilson plays kind of end?
Well, August is trying to, his thing is, when he got kicked out of school, he didn't leave just only because he was being taunted. Mm-hmm. They accused him of plagiarism.
He was so good.
And he had written a paper, and the teacher said, admit that you plagiarized this or take an F. He said, well, I'll take an F.
Find enforced her.
And then he stole that from him. He went and left and spent his time in the library. But what August said, I learned the culture. He had a white father, as you hit on. Yeah. I learned the culture. He saw himself as a black man because he learned the culture and who he was at the knee of his mother. Sitting at his mother. He says, I can find every example or every experience within the human experience within the contents of my mother's cabinets. we don't have to go outside of ourselves to articulate love, grief, desire, family, commerce. We can tell all the things, we can examine the human condition in every angle, every corner of endeavor through our own experiences. For example, we sitting here talking. It's just three people sitting here talking. If this was a station with other people, when the commercials come up, you'll probably go up and go into your phone and read and do that, and she'll go over and do her thing. But we do things a little different.
Yeah.
He talking about the kids, the frat, and how they went here and that, and look, oh, I did this, and you better not. That's it's just three people talking at a radio station, but we do things a little different. You sit down and have breakfast. Got pass the bacon, pass the eggs. Well, I hope you ain't got no bacon. But, you pass the eggs.
No
one
bacon,
family,
no pork.
they'll do that, right? Then we'll come and we'll be like, hey, like you said, pass the bacon. No, I don't have that swine over there. Give me some of that over there. But go, hey, put my song on, baby. Go and put that on over there. I want to hear some music. We all sitting down having breakfast. We just did a little different. That's what August was saying. You don't have to go outside of yourself for nothing. Everything you want, everything you have, everything you desire, everything you seek is right there within you. The inner you, the bigger you, the community you, the world you. And that's not to dismiss or belittle anybody else.
So this is us.
It's just, this is us. That's it. That's it. That's all.
And can we take advantage of it and really use it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that.
And where we go wrong is when we don't. When we look outside of ourselves for the answers.
Come on.
When we look outside of ourselves for help. Our communities look the way they look because we look at outside of ourselves. We can have anything we want. We make more money than what? We have the third largest GDP.
13th largest
GDP
if we were a
on
country.
the planet, if we were a country. Just among the 13% of us that live in this country.
That's crazy.
We do not have to go outside of ourselves for anything. And people say, well, that's divisive. It's not divisive. It's just like, I want to be supportive of the general effort. I shouldn't have to.
They don't say that about Little Italy or Chinatown or whatnot like that. It's not
exactly.
divisive. It's about home.
Exactly.
So you kind of talked a little bit about earlier about this term. You called it unrealized potential. One of the things we do on the check-in, we also try to provide strategies or give some wisdom to the audience. When you think about that unrealized potential, are there any suggestions or any things that you would make sure that you would recommend to the listening audience?
Yeah, whatever's burning you, stop ignoring it. Whatever.
Hey, hold on.
Say that again. Say it again.
Instant replay, instant rewind when somebody say something powerful like that.
Yeah, when something is burning you, stop ignoring. If you get up every day, if you know when you walk down the street, like my mother, for example, my mother, she complains sometimes, but she can't stand to see people uncomfortable. She can't stand to see people suffer. You could be standing out here and she don't know who you are, and it's 10 below, and she'll say, "Come on in here. Come, just sit right here. I don't know. You can't go. Give him some food. Give him some water." She's a natural caregiver. And I've told my mother, I said, you're missing your money. All you need to do, you need to lean into that. You could get federal funding to start and to buy you a facility so that you can run and
really do
care
it
for people. That's your calling. My uncle,
he
tired of cooking. But every holiday, every gathering, can't nobody cook the food better than you. So then continue to cook.
Yeah.
People that want to educate. If you want to sing, my mother used to always say, I want to be a singer. I used to want to sing and dance. I ain't burdening you with a bunch of kids coming through, so go do it. If you want to be a teacher, if you just
whatever's burning
cleaning up, I can't stand to see a park. If you get over there, let me pick this up. You can do that, and you can start a business from it, and that could provide your livelihood. You think of people getting up on social media now that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, just sitting up there talking.
Doing what they like.
They like to do. They like to talk. This one girl I fell in love with on IG. She's a Southern girl from Crystal Springs, Mississippi, and all she do, she go on these fishing trips and stuff like that, and she just talk about fishing. But the way she talks about it, she sounds
It
like a
brings
little
you in.
old woman, and it tickles the hell out of me.
Mhm.
But she's passionate about fishing and she's fishing. But that's what it is. You go to church every Sunday. Most of our people go to
Mhm.
church every Sunday, or they subscribe to some belief,
Some spiritual
Mhm.
some
philosophy.
spiritual philosophy.
Mhm.
Well, as he said, Doc said earlier, faith without works is dead. As Boy Willis say, you can't take half of it and forget the other half. You gotta go get the whole Bible.
Mhm.
You go to the Bible, half the Bible. Faith without works is dead.
Yes.
You have to, if you believe that God made you and gave you purpose, that's where you got to start. Do you believe that?
Come
If
on.
you believe that, then sit down, write it out, or you get Chat GPT or whatever and say, this is what I want to do. What's
Come
the
on.
greatest plan to do it? Oh,
I forgot one title, Reverend James T. Alfred.
Okay, you got to, because when
That was real.
you
It
don't,
is.
what causes people mental anguish, what causes people depression is they need something
Mhm.
and they're not getting what they need through their
It's something
everyday
they need to
pursuits.
birth and they keeping it inside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you need basic, was it Maslow's hierarchy?
I get
of
it.
needs?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Heard, seen,
Mhm.
all that. You need something, and so you have to start pursuing that.
Yeah.
But what happens, people? It's easier just to be messy and to be in other people's business
Yeah.
Mm.
or sit on the sideline.
Yeah.
And I saw this real clip when I read
Yeah.
of Cardi B the other day, and it kind of broke my heart. She was saying how when she was stripping, how she said, I had money and I was happy. I could say whatever I want to say, but now I gotta watch what I say. I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, because she used to say, you got money, why you ain't happy? Now she got money because you're
Still
not
happy.
fulfilled
There you go.
in
There's a
your
difference.
purpose.
Yeah.
You
Wealth
done
is
made
not
this bread.
always-
That's why I left corporate man. It's like I could go in and climb this, but I know me. I'd have been
It wouldn't make you happy.
CEO, been on coke, beat my wife, killed
Uh-huh.
my kids, hate me.
Oh,
All this craziness because when you're unfulfilled,
But you would have been rich and successful.
rich and successful. You don't know how it's going to play out when you're,
Come on.
unfulfilled. So,
Well, listening audience, I hope you heard that. If you've got something burning, you got to do something about it because the burning, it does hurt.
mhm.
It will hurt at some point.
And
So,
there's somebody near you
mm,
that you can ask a question. This radio station is one place.
Mm.
You can get resources. You just got to reach out.
Come on, listen. If you want to see him do what he do,
yes.
the burning desire in him, go down to the Milwaukee Rep February 24th, March 20 through March 22nd, directed by Lou Bellamy, the piano lesson
At the rep.
by August Wilson. You've been listening to the check-in with our guest, James T. Alfred. We love you, Milwaukee. We'll see you next week.